The maritime industry continues to evolve with the advancement of automation and safety technologies. One of the most significant developments is the adoption of unattended machinery spaces. Our discussion will highlight the purpose, function, and challenges of UMS operation, as well as the documentation and requirements and certification process that uphold safety compliance and efficiency in modern shipping. I am one of your moderator for today, discussing the UMS and documentation and certification. I am Midshipwoman Myla Christine DC San Miguel. Together with the other moderators, which are Midshipman Brent Jared Sidon, Midshipman Clyde Sunga, Midshipman Jewel Sanchez, Midshipman Aaron Suge, and Midshipman Jeric Salarda. So what is UMS? UMS stands for the Unattended Machinery Spaces. This refers to the practice of allowing the ship's engine to operate without continuous human supervision in the engine room. So ano nga ba ang purpose ng isang UMS? UMS improve efficiency and reduces costs. There are three key purposes na kailangan nating ma-remember. Number one is it reduces crew workload and operating costs. So, hindi na nagre-require ng continuous watches sa engine room si UMS kasi nag-aalaw siya sa engineering crew to have a set working hours during the day. Nagre-reduce ito ng labor costs and fatigue. Number 2 naman is improve operational efficiency. Sa advanced automation system, nag-optimize siya ng machinery performance and nagre-reduce siya ng downtime by detecting issues in early and automatically adjusting parameters like yung speed, pressure, temperatures. Then yung pangatlo is enhanced safety. Yung UMS technology, nag-enhance siya ng safety by reducing human presence and potentially having them in hazardous areas or situations. So yung respond is magiging quickly as possible. So now let us move on to our next topic, which are the alarm systems in UMS operation. For number 1, we have comprehensive machinery alarms. So this mimic panel for main engine, auxiliary engines, boilers alarm relate to bridge and engineers spaces. Number 2, we have the bilge level alarms. So these sensors detect rising bilge liquid, signaling leaks or flooding. Number 3 is we have fire detection system, which rapid fire and smoke detection in high-risk areas. And lastly, we have the deadman alarm, or known as the engineer's alarm. These are safety timer for engineers working alone in UMS. Failure to reset triggers breach alarm. Monitoring in UMS operation. So there are key importance that needs to be remembered under monitoring. Number 1 is the sensor network, followed by the centralized control and alarms, then automated sequence control, bridge control, and regular inspection routes. So, monitoring is a key element in unattended machinery spaces operation because it combines the automation with human oversight to ensure both safety and efficiency. So, a sensor network continuously tracks vital parameters such as engine temperature, pressure, and fluid levels, allowing even minor deviations to be detected early before they escalate into serious problems. So, all of this data is gathered and displayed at the engine control room, or known as the ECR, where any abnormalities immediately trigger audible and visual alarms that are also relayed to the bridge and the duty engineer's cabin for prompt response. Beyond detection, automated sequence control manages routine functions like fuel purification and automatically switches to standby pumps or generators when equipment fails, reducing human workload and preventing downtime. The system also allows for bridge control, enabling the officer of the watch to directly operate the ship's propulsion system, adjusting speed and direction, without requiring an engineer to be physically present in the engine room. However, despite these advanced features, regular inspection runs remain essential. Duty engineers must still perform periodic checks in the machinery space to confirm equipment conditions and verify the reliability of automated systems. So together, these monitoring measures form a comprehensive framework that secures the vessel's operation while minimizing risks.
So the next one is the documentation requirements in SOLAS. The first one is that Regulation 22, Stability Information, and the next one is the Regulation 24, Passenger Ship Damage Stability. The next one is the Regulation 25, Cargo Ship Damage Stability, and the last one is the Regulation 29, Proof of Compliance with Subdivision and Stability. So now, let's look at the documentation under SOLAS. So several regulations require ships to carry specific documents. So the first one is the Regulation 22, requires a stability information booklet. So basically, instruction for the crew on how to load the ship safely. And Regulation 24 covers passenger ship damage stability. So Regulation 25 does the same for cargo ship, and the last one for Regulation 29 requires proof that the ship's design meets subdivision and stability standards. So these regulations aren't just papers, they are legal evidence that the ship is safe, and both in normal condition and in emergencies. And now, I will explain one by one all of the regulations. So the first one is the Regulation 22, Stability Information. So it explains how the ship balances in different conditions, and it is one of the most critical documents. It shows how the ship should be loaded. So the next one is the Regulation 24 and Regulation 25, Passenger and Cargo Damage Ship Stability. So the passenger ships and cargo ships have different requirements. Passenger ships carry hundreds or even thousands of people, so their stability rules are stricter. They must be able to survive flooding and still float long enough for evacuations. And the cargo ships, on the other hand, focus on protecting crew and cargo. While both are important, passenger ships have more lives at stake, so the documentation is more detailed. And the last one is the Regulation 29, and it is all about proof of compliance with subdivision and stability standards. Subdivision refers to how a ship is divided into watertight compartments. If one part of the ship floods due to damage, the watertight bulkheads keep water from spreading, giving the ship a better chance of survival. So that's all.
Okay, so bago tayo pumunta sa process, ano nga ba ibig sabihin ng certification process and authority? Basically, ito yung buong process na dinadaanan ng isang barko para makakuha ng UMS notation. Hindi lang siya basta-basta binibigay. Dadaan muna sa maraming inspections, approvals, at tests para siguradong safe at reliable yung automation system ng barko. Yung authority naman usually refers sa classification society at sa flag state administration. Sila yung may power na mag-check, mag-approve at magbigay ng certificate. Parang sa atin, kung kukuha ka ng driver's license, dadaan ka sa LTO kasi sila yung may authority para magbigay. Same concept din sa ships, pero mas technical at mas maraming requirements. In short, certification process is the step-by-step procedure, tapos yung authority naman is yung organizations na nagpapatupad at nag-a-approve. So guys, bago pa man magsimula yung construction or modification ng barko, kailangan mo na i-approve yung mga plano ng ship. Dito papasok yung classification society. Sila yung magre-review ng mga documents like automation systems, alarm systems, at control systems. Parang bago ka magpatayo ng bahay, dadaan muna sa engineer at architect para sigurado na safe at pasado sa standards. Halimbawa, kung gusto na ship owner maglagay ng automatic fire alarm system sa engine room, dapat ipakita muna yung mga plano para ma-check kung swak na siya sa safety rules. Pag na-approve yung plano, next step is yung initial survey. Dito, habang ginagawa yung barko o kino-convert siya, pupunta yung surveyor para tignan kung talagang sinusunod nila yung plano. Parang inspector na chine-check kung tama ang gawa at hindi bara-bara. For example, kung sabi sa plan na dapat stainless steel yung certain pipes para matibay, sisiguraduhin ng surveyor na hindi nila pinalitan ng mas murang material. Pagtapos na yung construction, kailangan naman i-test yung barko sa totoong kondisyon. Dito papasok yung sea trials. Kasama dito yung UMS functionality, meaning kung kaya ba talagang gumana yung automation ng maayos kahit walang tao lagi sa engine room. Imagine nyo na parang test drive ng kotse bago bilhin. Pero mas intense kasi actual voyage at operations ang tinetesting. For example, titignan kung automatic ba nag-a-alarm kapag nag-overheat yung makina kahit walang engineer na nakabantay. Kapag pasado lahat ng test at surveys, saka lang mag-i-issue ng Certificate of Class yung Classification Society. Kasama na dun yung UMS notation. Importante to kasi ibig sabihin recognized na ng flag state at pwede na mag-operate ang barko na may reduced engine room manning. In short, mas konti na lang ang tao na kailangan physically nasa engine room. Halimbawa, kung dati kailangan laging may 2 engineer sa loob, ngayon pwede na automated ang monitoring kaya mas efficient yung crew. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na tapos na lahat pagkatapos makuha yung certificate. Para ma-maintain yung UMS notation, kailangan pa rin ng regular o periodic surveys habang ginagamit yung barko. Parang renewal ng LTO registration ng kotse. Hindi pwedeng forever valid. Kailangan i-check lagi kung safe at maayos pa. For example, kung after ilang taon may nakita silang sirang sensor sa automation system, kailangan ayusin agad para hindi makompromise yung UMS status ng barko. So yun guys, yun yung buong certification process and authority para makuha ng isang barko yung UMS notation. Makikita natin na hindi siya one time lang, kundi tuloy-tuloy. Mula plan approval hanggang periodic surveys. Ang goal talaga nito is to make sure na safe, reliable, and efficient yung automation system ng barko. Kung iisipin natin, parang everyday life lang din. Bago ka makakuha ng lisensya o permit, may requirements at inspections kang dapat sundin. Same sa ships, kailangan dumaan sa tamang proseso para ma-approve at para tuloy-tuloy na ma-maintain yung safety standards.
Importance of documentation during inspections and audits. Proof of compliance. Demonstrate adherence to safety, operational, and regulatory requirements. Documentation shows that the ship strictly follows international safety, operational, and regulatory standards, which is essential to avoid penalties or detentions. Number 2. Objective evidence. Shows crew follows approved procedures and automated system work as intended. Written logs at reports ay nagsisilbing clear evidence na sinusunod ng crew and approved procedures. They also confirm that automated systems such as alarms and sensors working properly. These are important to reduce human presence sa UMS.
Verification tool allows inspectors and auditors to confirm safe operation despite no continuous human presence in the engine room. Dahil walang continuous na tao sa engine room, ang documentation ang nagiging pangunahing basehan ng inspectors at auditors. These records allow them to trace event, review system performance, and confirm that the ship is being managed responsibly.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeric Salarda. I will discuss the example of detention due to missing invalid certificates while not directly caused by a missing certificates. UMS. Related detention frequently involve the failure of automated system that the vessel certification relies on. This can be triggered by deficiencies found during the documentation check, which provide clear grounds for a more detailed inspection of the machinery space. Number 1. Inoperative alarm system in the engine control room. Number 2. Defective or hold high pressure fuel pipes. Number 3. Wetted or missing insulation around fuel pipes, a fire hazard. Number 4. Missing electrical insulation mats around electrical equipment. Number 5. Inoperative fire and smoke detectors. Number 6. Failure of a blackout test where the emergency generator does not start automatically with 45 seconds to restore essential services. While not always directly caused by absent documentation, unmanned machinery space related detention often stem from failures in automated systems that are certification dependent. These failures typically surface during documentation checks, which then justify deeper inspection of the machinery space. In conclusion, ang documentation at actual condition ng automated system ay parehong critical. Even though perfect ang certificates,
kung may deficiency sa alarm, fuel system o fire protection, pwedeng mauwi sa detention ng vessel. Port State Control Officer, inspect ships to verify compliance with international regulation. If critical certificates are missing, expired, forged, or invalid, the vessel may be detained immediately.
So dahil ako yung duty oiler ngayon, bababa ako sa engine room para kaya ikutan yung mga running machineries, check yung bilge, mga service tanks, entering tanks kung okay pa lahat. So ayun, normally may mga ka-duty kaming engineer, so bumababa rin yung para umikot. So ayun guys, tara, samahan niyo ako.
So ayun guys, kung nakita nyo dyan, dinouble check ko lang ulit yung fuel oil settling tanks. Tapos tinawagan ko na si kwarto makinista kung nakapunta siya. So ayun, dumating na nga siya bago ko pa siya matawagan. So yan, alis na ako dyan, lalabas na ako papunta ng engine room para i-check yung mga machineries. And then yun, pagbalik ko guys, okay na yung level ng settling tanks, kaya pumara na siya ng automatic. Tapos ito naman yung alarm monitoring unit namin. So dyan mo makikita yung mga alarms, yung mga parameters ng main engine, generators, tsaka other machineries. So ayan guys, nilipat ko na siya sa generator para makita ko yung mga parameters. Ito naman guys, yung parameters ng main engine. So makikita rin dyan kung ano yung mga pressure, temperature ng main engine. So ito naman yung MOP, yung main operating panel ng main engine natin. So sa control room natin, nandyan lahat ng mga parameters, temperatures, makikita natin sa mga machineries. Nandyan din yung main switchboard natin guys. So ayan guys, papunta na tayo sa main engine platform. Titignan natin dyan yung mga chinecheck sa ating main engine. So ayan yung lube oil filter natin, chinek ko, okay naman siya. Starting air, okay naman, naka-open naman siya. Yung turbocharger, okay naman yung pressure drop nya. So iniikutan lang namin yan para i-check kung may mga leakage, okay yung mga parameters, temperatures, pressures. So iikutan lang yan guys kapag ka UMS rounds. So check mo yan, titignan mo yung mga parameters ng mga machineries. So ayun guys, main engine local parameters yan. Lahat yan makikita mo rin yan sa engine control room. Ito guys, papunta naman ako nyan sa air cooler parameters ng main engine. So inulit ko, lahat yan makikita mo rin sa engine control room. Yan lang yung local parameters nya, yung mga local gauges nya. Tapos yan, yun, papunta naman ako nyan sa purifier room. Purifier room, so chinecheck ko lang din dyan yung temperature ng fuel oil. Ito naman yung lube oil. So chinecheck ko lang yung pressure nya, yung feed rate. So ito yung booster unit natin, okay naman yung filter nya, wala pa naman siyang red. Yung auto backflush filter natin, okay din. So booster unit yan guys ng main engine. So ito naman yung purifier natin, lube oil purifier ng main engine, okay yan. So ito naman yung ating heavy fuel oil purifier, so okay yan. Chinek din natin yan kanina, wala rin yung leak. So guys, ito naman yung auxiliary engine booster unit natin. So yan yung filter, wala pang red, so okay pa yan. After nito guys, dito na ako sa LT pumps tsaka HT pump. So ayan, dalawa na yan. Yan yung high temperature pumps natin na nagkukuling sa main engine. So okay yung pressure nya. Ito naman yung freshwater generator natin. Yan yung salinity. Ito yung vacuum pressure. Tapos chinek ko rin dyan sa side glass yung level ng water sa evaporator side. Okay naman. Ito guys, check ko na dyan yung bilge well. So sa aft, pupunta na ako doon. Check ko siya kung may tubig siya, kung kailangan na ba natin mag-pump out. Pero okay naman yan. Wala naman yung water. Wala naman masyadong mga leak sa baba. So pupunta na ako dyan sa starboard side bilge well. Check ko. So ayan guys, yung starboard side wala naman laman, so hindi naman kailangan mag-transfer. Tapos yung port side bilge well, okay din yan. So yun guys, pabalik na tayo dyan. Pataas na tayo. Na-check na natin yung sa baba. Tsaka dyan sa purifier platform, sa main engine platform, na-check na rin natin. So yan, papunta na ako dyan sa first deck na platform. So i-check ko na dyan yung cylinder oil, service tanks sa low sulfur, high sulfur. So by that time, ang gamit natin dito ay high sulfur. So, yan, naka-high sulfur fuel din tayo. So, chinek ko rin dyan yung setting tank, service tanks. So, yan, papunta naman tayo dyan sa air compressor room. So, check ko dyan yung starting air bottles, pressure nya, kung okay ba or normal yung laman nya. So, ayan guys, okay yan lahat. Ito naman yung cascade tank natin or hot well tanks. So ayan, medyo bumaba yung level ng konti, kaya mag-top up tayo dyan. So ayun guys, puntahan naman natin yung steering gear room. Ikutan natin, check lang kung may mga abnormalities sa chemical store, and check natin yung motor kung may any abnormal noise. Check natin kung may any leaks or anong may mga problema. So importante rin na i-check natin yung mga coupling, yung mga running motor natin. Tapos i-check din natin dyan yung level ng oil. Ayan, okay naman yan sila. Normal level naman yan lahat. So okay yan. So yun guys, papunta naman ako dyan sa boiler room. I-check ko dyan yung condition ng burner, kung may mga leak ba or what. So okay naman yan kasi hindi naman bumaba yung steam pressure, kaya hindi pa siya nag-i-start. So ayan, chinek ko lang din dyan yung water level. Check lang ako ng mga any leaks around sa boiler room natin. Tapos sunod nyan, check ko naman yung boiler level water gauge. So ayan, pwede ka mag-check sa baba, dun sa digital, pwede rin dyan sa local. So okay naman siya, normal water level siya. So So ayan yung chemical dosing tank ng ating boiler. So after nyan, sa taas, isang deck, chinek ko dyan yung LTO freshwater expansion tank. So low temperature freshwater expansion tank yan. Ito naman yung HT or yung high temperature freshwater expansion tank. So ayun guys, packet na ako dyan. Tapos na yung duty ko. Tapos na yung UMS runs ko. So pwede na magpahinga.
In a previous episode, I have mentioned that our ship's engine room is designed for UMS, or Unattended Machinery Space Operation. So, does that mean the engine room can be left running without people? There are two systems of work arrangement in a ship's engine room. The first is the conventional watchkeeping system, wherein the engine room is kept manned 24 hours a day by engineers who go on 2 4-hour shifts. The second one is the UMS, or Unattended Machinery Space Operation. The engine room is a 24-hour environment, meaning there are continuously running machinery, most notably the generator, pumps, and when the ship is underway, the main engine. On older ships with limited automation, conventional watchkeeping is employed as it is necessary to make frequent adjustments in order to keep the engine parameters like pressure and temperatures within normal working limits. On these ships, it is usual to have 3 engineers doing watchkeeping duties in 2 4-hour shifts. The 4th engineer goes on the 8 to 12 watch, 3rd engineer on the 12 to 4, and the 2nd engineer on the 4 to 8 watch. They are usually partnered with an oiler. That's the engine room equivalent of an able-bodied seaman. In this setup, the rest of the engine room team go on day work, while the watchkeepers usually put in 2 hours of overtime after their shift. Ships that are designed for UMS operation are equipped with sufficient automation in order to minimize or even eliminate the need for the engineers to make the adjustments themselves. These include temperature, pressure, and level controllers, as well as automatic starting and stopping of certain machinery, and of course, remote alarm monitoring systems. In this setup, the entire engine team does all their jobs during daytime. 1 engineer and 1 oiler is assigned to go on duty for 24 hours, meaning in addition to their work during the day, it will also be their turn to attend to any alarms that occur within that whole period. In the afternoon, before knock-off from day work, the duty engineer will prepare the engine room for UMS in order to minimize the possibility of any alarms that might be triggered during the night while the engine room is unmanned. These preparations include the transferring of bilges, topping up the fuel tanks, cleaning filters, and going on rounds to make sure everything is in good working order before leaving the engine room unattended. Now, once confirmed that all is well, UMS operation begins and the remote alarm system is set to the duty engineer's cabin. UMS doesn't mean the engine room is left unattended for the entire night. At 2200 hours, the duty engineer will once again do his rounds and ensure that everything is still in good working order. After that, subsequent rounds will be made at preset intervals, usually by the duty oiler and the outgoing bridge watchkeepers. Now, at any point during UMS operation that any abnormality occurs, an audible alarm will be triggered in the engine room, on the bridge, in the duty engineer's cabin, and in the common areas like the mess room, smoking, and recreation rooms. It will be the duty engineer's responsibility to attend to the alarm and rectify the problem. If in case the problem is beyond his capabilities, that will be the time to call the chief engineer. Now, whether conventional watchkeeping or UMS, there will be times when alarms will be triggered and fixing it can't wait until morning. When that happens, the engine team will have to work on it immediately, even if it takes the entire night to fix it. Lastly, there are certain conditions when the engine room should not be shifted to UMS operation. For example, if any critical machinery or alarm system is malfunctioning, or when the ship is maneuvering, like when entering or leaving port, or transiting through heavy traffic or narrow passages, or during extremely heavy weather. Basically, in any situation where there are abnormal conditions present, the engine room should revert to conventional watchkeeping arrangement. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Once again, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.